Hello. Sorry about the slightly delayed start time today. We've had a couple of technical issues to be dealing with, a couple of things we needed to iron out before we could start. We thought we'd been able to set this up as a webinar, so we had to do some tweaks to make sure that we could work effectively this morning. Of course, there's lots of pros and cons to using a platform like Zoom. We'll just have to muddle our way through it. So welcome to the WASLI General Assembly. This is an an event for our national members, our NMs. And also others are able to watch this event, others that support WASLI and are engaged with our work. Could I ask the board to join me on camera to say hello? So we have with us the Vice President, Lydia. We also have with us today our Treasurer, the safeguarder of our funds, Giovanna. Hello, lovely to see you all. We also have our Secretary, Timothy. Hello. We also have our Swiss resident board member to inform our constitution, Michelle. Hello, Michelle. I think, unfortunately, our deaf interpreter board member's been unable to join us today. Arunas, I believe, is not here. That's a shame. He's not able to join us. Thank you for clarifying that. Okay. If I could have the next slide, please. And the one after. Just a little housekeeping before we begin today's meeting. If I could ask that everybody has their microphones on mute. We also have this event happening in 3 languages. So International Sign, which is what I will be using throughout this GA. I don't have my sound switched on, so you can try to speak to me as much as possible. That won't be effective. People can offer to make contributions in International Sign, and they'll be asked to switch their cameras on if they'd like to. We also have interpretation that's happening into both English and Spanish, so you can make contributions in those languages. If you look to the toolbar at the bottom of the screen, there are options there around which you can pick the language that you would like to listen to the interpretation in. We also have captions, and again, you can pick the captions to be in English or in another language. So you can listen to the GA in English and read the captions in, I don't know, German or Mandarin or whichever language you should so choose. So there are options there. These are, of course, automatic captions. They're AI generated, so I can't speak to how good they'll be. I guess that's something we'll discover as we go along throughout this meeting. If you'd like to say something, please raise a hand. I will make sure you're spotlit, and then you can make your contribution in either International Sign or in English or in Spanish. Today's meeting is being recorded, and that's so that we're able to take minutes from it effectively afterwards. But that is the housekeeping that I needed to cover before we can begin. So, next slide, please. Welcome. Welcome to the WASLI General Assembly. Today is 2nd of May in 2026. We now have an annual General Assembly. May is slightly later than we would normally have this. We usually aim to have it slightly earlier in the year, usually around March or April. So we're slightly later than usual. And that's in keeping with the financials of the year, but we're slightly later in May this year. Next year, it might be different. And we'll talk about what's going to happen next year as a matter of course. Next slide, please. Here we are. Thank you. So this is the agenda for today's meeting. This is what we will be hoping to cover. So we'll start off with some welcomes. Then we will need to look at attendance. and also if there have been any apologies that have been received. I'll be asking our Secretary Timothy to talk through that and to explain which voting members are here and if anybody has sent apologies. After that, there will be a vote around admittance of 2 new national members. We'll vote on that and see whether those 2 national members are accepted, and then we will continue with the rest of the meeting. And the reason for that is that we need to see that there is member acceptance of that before those members are able to have voting rights for the rest of this proceedings. We will then go through the minutes of the previous General Assembly, and there'll be an opportunity for comments and questions, and see if people are able to vote in favour of those minutes as being an accurate record of last year's event. We will then look to the annual report, which has been disseminated, and if people have questions around that, there'll be an opportunity for members to be able to ask those questions. There will then be a financial report. So we will look at the financials over the last year. Again, that's been shared with members. Then the rest of the agenda for 2026 will be followed. We'll ask that you're happy to ratify the budget forecast for this year. Then we will have to elect our auditors for the upcoming year. So we have a procedure that we have to follow in accordance with the Swiss Constitution. Then there's an opportunity to look at motions by the Executive Board and national members. And then there will be an announcement about an extraordinary General Assembly for next year. And we will have a conversation around that because that will have to happen in March before we have the Congress, which is in September. And then we will close the meeting. So those are the procedures that we will follow this morning. So firstly, I'm going to hand over to our secretary. Sorry, can we have the next slide, please? Great. And the next slide. Okay, so now I'll hand over to our secretary, Timothy, and Timothy will consider the members here with us today and also who has voting rights in accordance with having paid up their dues for this year. Timothy, I hand it over to you.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this Annual General Assembly. And with me here are the list of members. You also have them on the slide as well. And you will just follow through with me. We have number 1 on the list is Venezuela Association the Interpreters of Venezuela. We have in the number 1 list as those that are in good standing, financial standing. They've paid their annual dues up to date. Then we also have a second on the list, the Association of Sign Language Interpreters in Uruguay. They are also up to date financially. And we have the Korean Association of Sign Language Interpreters as well in number 3. The number 4, we have the Association of Sign Language Interpreters Peru. They have paid their dues up to date. Number 5, we have the Association of Sign Language Interpreters in Paraguay. They have also paid their dues up to date. Number 6, we have Panama Association of Sign Language Interpreters as well. At number 6 and number 7, we have the Mexican Association of Sign Language Interpreters. They have paid their dues up to date. Next on the list, number 8, is Netherlands. Netherlands have paid their dues up to date. And we have 2 associations from Malaysia. One is Malaysian Sign Language Interpreters and Translation National Organization. And we have Malaysian Association of Sign Language Interpreters. Both organizations have paid their dues up to date. Sorry, the next one is Japan Association of Sign Language Interpreters have paid their own. Sorry, there's a little mistake in the name spelling that is there. Then the next is we have the Italian Association of Sign Language Interpreters. They have paid their dues up to date. Then we have the Indonesian Association of Sign Language Interpreters as well. They've paid their dues up to date. Then we have Finland Association of Sign Language Interpreters. They have paid their dues up to date. In number 15, we have the Ecuadorian Association of Sign Language Interpreters. That's Ecuador. And we have in number 16, Denmark Association of Sign Language Interpreters. Then followed by the Democratic People's Republic, Korea. They have also paid their dues up to date. Then we have the Association of Sign Language Interpreters, Cuba. They have paid their own dues up to date. Number 19, we have Croatian Association of Sign Language Interpreters. They have paid their dues up to date. And we have the Costa Rica Association of Sign Language Interpreters. They have paid their dues up to date. Number 21, we have the Brazilian Association of Sign Language Interpreters. They have paid their dues up to date. And we have the Bolivian Association of Sign Language Interpreter. They have paid their dues up to date. Number 23, we have Belgium Association of Sign Language Interpreters. They have paid their dues up to date. And we have the Argentine Association of Sign Language Interpreters. They have paid their dues up to date. I just got an updated list that we are 25, and the treasurer just updated me with the name. We forgot to put them in the list, and that's the Mongolian Association of Sign Language Interpreters, and that's 25. Thank you so much for all your support and your donations. Thank you. Back to you, Christopher. Thank you.
Are there any apologies that we've received, Timothy, from members that aren't able to join us today?
No, there are no apologies. I believe that all the associations are here.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. So this is the list of members who have paid. So following our constitution, those who have paid are able to vote in the General Assembly. Those who haven't aren't able to vote. So these are the ones that had paid up until the deadline, which was yesterday. It might be that people have said they haven't a record of that payment or there's an issue with that payment, but we met in Rwanda and I think there was a discussion of payment then. Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
So we can add that association to the list as well.
That's okay. Thank you.
Okay, so in accordance with those who have paid, some people are very effective at paying on time. I know that some organisations it's more difficult because of their own financial situations, but just as a reminder, our payment term is January, so everybody should be paying their fees in January to enable the smooth running of WASLI as an organisation. The longer it takes for your fees to be paid to us, the more difficult our work is. If we can move to the next slide, please. Thank you. We have 2 new applications for national members. The boards have looked through the constitutional requirements for new members. They seem to be in keeping. They are both sign language interpreting associations and they both seem to work in terms of the way that we would expect a national member to work. So now we would ask members with voting rights to be able to support the application of these 2 new members or not, as is your whim. We will share a Google form and we will share those to the email addresses for the member organisations. So if you are a member representing a member organisation here, can you please send a direct message to our secretary, Timothy Tinnat, with your email address? So this will be your official email address. We'll give you a couple of minutes to send those messages to Timothy directly. So he is WASLI Zoom. So if you send him that email address directly, he will share those with the tech team and then the tech team will send you a Google form that you then will be able to complete. Okay. So I'll give you 5 minutes to be able to send those email addresses and for those forms then to be sent to the appropriate representatives of those organisations. I've set a timer. So please get that email address sent directly to Timothy Tinnat as a private message on Zoom, and then he will make sure that form is sent across to you and that you can then vote in today's proceedings.
Please, the name of your association, just like I said it on the list, then the email address. That's all I need, please. Thank you.
Okay. Timothy, have you received the email addresses from everybody and have they all been sent the form?
Yes, they are coming in. The emails are coming in. Thank you so much for putting it together to send it to Laura.
Hang on 1 second, I just need to send a private message. So somebody just asked me about their membership. As the president, I'm not responsible for everything that happens. If it's a question around membership or about the website, either you need to contact members at WASLI, so that particular email address, or if there's a question that the secretary could answer, please do contact the secretary. So that's a conversation that can be had after this meeting, but somebody just mentioned that they weren't on the website, so that can be resolved afterwards, hopefully. So, Timothy, you have received emails for all of the voting members, and does everybody understand the procedure that we will now follow?
Yes, I've received them.
And the form has been sent to those members as well. Can I ask the technical team if the form has been sent so everybody is now able to vote? So I've been told that from the technical team that the voting isn't quite ready to start yet, but we can see the two new potential associations. So we have in Italy, ANEOS, and we also have the Austrian Sign Language Interpreters Association. When the form is ready for everybody, then we will vote for those two individual potential members. And the normal process will be, if somebody wants to become a member of WASLI, they submit an application. The board looks at that application, looks at the constitution of WASLI and ensures that the association is indeed an association of sign language interpreters. Our members are all national members who are sign language interpreting associations. Now, we don't have a policy that says one country can only have one national organisation. So, for example, we've had some membership in the past from 2 or 3 associations in America. That's been acceptable. A couple of years ago, there was a vote around this, but it might be that in future there's a change. We don't know. That's something that could be considered. So we know that in different regions as well, there are different views about this. So it might be that WASLI takes a different direction on this in future. Okay. Is the form good to go? I'm just looking for a thumbs up from somebody in technical support. Again, I think it's just sorting out some of the finer details of that. So my understanding is that to add Tamilis, the Interpreter Association in Italy. So that will bring us up to 27 members who have voting rights, I believe, with Tamilis. So can I ask the representative from Tamilis, the Italian Association, have you sent your email address? You have, brilliant, thank you very much. So the technical team have 17 emails to vote today. We have, I want to say, 25 and 2 proposed new members, or 26 NMs. So the minimum for us to be quorate is 1/4 of our members. So that's either 6 or 7 organisations. As we have 17 present today, we are able to proceed because we are quorate. Have all of those members sent their email address to Timothy? I think there are 7 more that need to share an email address in order to be able to vote. Okay, so we're aiming for 25.
Excuse me, I have a question.
So just for clarification, I know this is taking a little bit longer than we might like. So the aim is that we will use the Google form, and that will give access to members who are eligible to vote. So once we have those email addresses in place, then we will share that form with everybody. So there will be 7 or 8 votes throughout the whole course of this GA. So the form will be used, so it takes a little bit of time, but obviously doing things online is a bit more complicated. Sorry, did somebody have a hand raised? Did somebody say they wanted to ask a question there?
Yes, Sarah from ASILS. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if, because we're not there, we were not in the list, and we're up to date too. And I'm not sure if Timothy is receiving our email. I just sent it, and I'm not sure if I have to send it again, or I'm not understanding what's going on because I don't have any form. Sorry.
Okay, so in terms of the process, if you send your email address, we will add it to the list and then it will go to the Google form. So you wouldn't have received the form yet. We haven't sent it yet. When there is a vote, we will send it. So we just want to check that everybody will have it. So we're trying to get this set up at the start. So it will be smooth running from here in. So today seems to be full of technical mishaps and moments of frustration for all of us, but hopefully we can resolve these soon. Apologies, please do bear with us. It feels like we're going back to the 1980s. You know, I feel like we've got lots of gremlins, something playing at us today. So lots of technical gremlins that are making our systems more complicated. Okay. So we have 2 new potential associations to join as national members. The first is ANEOS. ANEOS were a previous member of WASLI. They would like to rejoin. So maybe to move us on, we can share the Google form. If you receive it, that means we have your email. If you don't receive it, it means we don't have your email. If I can ask the technical team to open the vote to allow ANEOS to be a member and share that Google form with the email addresses that we have. So this has now been shared. So those of you who have shared your email should be able to vote. If you have received it, please do use the emoji buttons to raise your hand to show that you have received it, so we can see that people have received it. So at the bottom of Zoom, there's various emoji. So there's participants chat. There's also a react button with various options. And there's also a hand raised there. So if people have received it, if they could raise a hand to show that they have received it. If you've received it, please do raise your hand. Thank you, Sarah. Excellent hand raising there. Much appreciated.
Certo.
So at the moment, it looks like only one person has received the form. Is that correct? But come on, Catalonia, absolutely leading this in terms of their participation thus far. Okay, so for information, so far we've had 4 votes, but only one person who says they've received the form. So I'm a little bit confused about how that's happened. So again, if I can ask, if you have received the form, check your email. If you have received the form, if you've received the form, please use the reaction to raise a hand so we can see you've received the form. At the moment, we only have one hand up from Catalonia to say that they've received the form, but no others. So can we see from others if you've received the form, please, by raising your hand? Aria, could you mute yourself, please? Aria Tonetta, can I ask that you put your microphone onto mute? So if we put the link into the chat, that might be another way that we can do this. And then we will have to trust that people here are voting only if they are members, and we can check through those votes just to see that those email addresses tie up with the people who said, I'm just thinking in the interest of time, it might be better. I can see that we've had 9 votes so far. So it might be more advantageous to share that form in the chat. So in the chat, you can see the technical support have shared the link. I think if people are able to just use the link there, and then we can check that their email addresses match up and the people who are able to vote have voted. So there are a couple of different channels that are going on, so I'm looking between both of them. I think the best way forward is if we share the link in the Zoom chat and we ask that only those of you who are voting members, we can set up a specific chat in Zoom for those people who are voting members and then share the link in there. It might be that that's a more efficient way of doing this, because in the Zoom chat we are able to set up that as a separate link, a separate group. We have a hand raised from somebody representing NBTG. It's not, is it a question? No, it's just to let you know that they voted, I believe, Christopher. Thank you. Yeah, it's just to. Could we spotlight the representative from NBTG, please? Oh, no, it's just to let me know that they voted. Okay, I'm with you now. Thank you very much. Okay, so now everybody has the link. I will give you 1 minute in order for you to be able to vote, and then we will announce the result of that vote. Okay. So now we have had that 1 minute opportunity to vote. Let's see what the result of that vote was. So we had 16 votes in favour. So this is an approval overall from the members here today for ANEOS to be able to join the association. If we can return to the slides, please. Timothy, have you set up a group so that people can receive the link in a special group chat within the Zoom? So a separate chat for just those who are representing voting members?
Yes, I've set up the group and I have added the tech team.
So now there's a new function in Zoom where you are able to set up a separate group, and I think this hopefully will expedite the process. So we can now put the link in that new chat just for those who are voting members today. So the NM representatives will be in that group. They can be sent the link, and hopefully that will make the process a lot more straightforward. Okay. So Timothy, just let me know that that group's been set up and we can proceed.
Yes, it's set up.
So Timothy, we can share the link in that group. Have you shared the link in that
Yes,
group for the meeting?
yes, we've shared.
So we can now move on to the vote for the Austrian Association to become a new member. Is that form available in that new group?
Yes, it's in the group.
Yeah, it's in the group. Okay. And people have that and they are able to now vote. Okay, so are we ready to vote? It seems that a couple of our members are suggesting they aren't in that group yet. So NBTG, also JASLI, DupeBIM also aren't in that group yet. Also Sarah said that they're not in a group yet. So if they can be added to the voting group, that would be really helpful. Timothy, have you added those
We are
individuals?
adding them, yes.
You've added them. You've added everybody
them.
that has said that they weren't added. No, so DupeBIM is saying they're still not a member. So Casley and DupeBIM are both saying they aren't in that group. And JASLI are also saying they're not in that group, as are NRASLI. So maybe you can't see, some of you, within the chat function, there's different icons at the top. So you can see one chat that says everyone, and then there's a little box next to it with another chat in. Can people see that?
Yeah, added, sir. They're added.
So there is a group chat that's called voting members. If you open up your chat options within Zoom, then in that chat function, you'll see different logos at the top. So one says everyone and one says voting members. If you click on the voting members tab, so we'll now be voting for the admittance of the Austrian Sign Language Interpreter Association. I'll give 2 minutes for that vote to happen. So we've had 11 votes. And we see the majority of those votes are in favour. Okay, great. So in terms of the national members within that particular chat, are there people who aren't in the voting members chat? If you aren't in the chat and you think you should be, can you please say no in the main chat so that we know you need to be added? So just again, to reiterate, if you aren't in the voting, if you are a voting member, but you're not in the voting members chat group, can you please make us aware now by putting in the main chat for everyone to see? that you're not in that group yet. So we're putting the link, and that takes you to a Google form, and then you use your email to vote. And then that comes out with the results from everybody. So you can't see the voting group. So that's ASEALs who are saying they can't, so we can send you the link directly. So if we know who can't access that group, we can also send you the link so that you're able to vote directly. So before there were 6 people who'd voted, and now we see that there are 15. There were 16 previously, now there are 15, so it seems there are a similar number of people voting. So now Austria have been approved, as have ANEOS. So we now have 2 new members joining WASLI. If we can go back to the slides, please, thank you. Next slide, please. So far this meeting has been somewhat complicated. I think most people who are here who are voting members, plus ASEALs who are in the voting members group, sorry, plus we'll send the link directly to ASEALs, but we haven't heard from anybody else that they can't receive that voting form yet, so I will assume that they can. Which brings us on to the next item in today's agenda, which is the minutes from last year's General Assembly. These have been sent out to national members with the other paperwork from our Secretary Timothy. Are there any questions about the minutes from last year's AGM? I see a hand raised, NBTG. You have a question? Just wait 1 second just for you to be spotlit and for the interpreter to be spotlit. Thank you.
Yes, the MTG was wondering why the minutes are so limited in the amount of information. Because when there were questions asked, it only says questions were asked and addressed, and that's that. And we would like to see some more content on that. What was actually discussed, what was being asked, what topics were brought up, and these minutes did not provide us with sufficient information. And also there were names missing there of the chair of the meeting, the secretary. So it seemed a bit like the minutes were not finished yet. That's my question. And if that's possible to do that in another way in the future, maybe. Thank you.
And that's one of the reasons that we are recording this meeting, is that we can have more accurate minute taking in future. Sorry, I clicked the wrong button there and switched my camera off. Timothy will be taking the minutes and took the minutes from last year. Did you want to respond to that question, Timothy? You're on mute, Timothy.
Yes, thank you so much. We're aware that meeting, the minutes were so limited to just the decisions that were taken during the meeting last year. But we will make sure that the minutes of this very particular meeting is more comprehensive to include decisions and other things like that. Changing the style and also making it sufficient enough for you to be able to at least view all the discussions, during the meeting. We didn't want to also take everything into the meeting, so we also have to be careful on things we need to take, which it's formally recognized by our constitution as well. But this is well noted and it will be taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Timothy. So as chair, I follow the constitution. I chair the meetings, but I think it's useful that we have a formal note of that question and we have a formal note of the response, and we ensure that the minutes from this year's AGM are more detailed. Are there other questions about those minutes?
Hi, good evening, everyone.
Lucy, sorry, Lucy, can you just wait 1 second while the interpreter's spotlit as well, please? Thank you.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. I know in every AGM we are supposed to receive the agenda and the minutes of the meeting and any other business, but Jupim Malaysia have not received anything. It's just a reminder to say that the AGM would be on date, time, and venue, platform. Only yesterday, I responded and asked for the minutes, but it was not given to us. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Lucy. Maybe Timothy would like to respond to that. Timothy, did you share the minutes? That's something that's part
Yes,
of the committee
thank you
separately?
so much. If you remember, we gave you an update about this meeting 6 months before the meeting. And sometimes around March, we've been able to share the minutes of the meeting with everyone. The challenges that we are having is that most national members probably have changed their email addresses. And because of that, it's quite difficult for us to be able to reach out. And we also work, the secretary and our deaf advisor, they are working together with your regional representatives. So in such kind of situation, please help us to get in touch with your regional representative and also copy me so that we can make sure that all national associations within regions, they have an updated email so that you can receive this information accurately and at a very good time. Thank you.
Thank you. I am aware that they were sent out somewhat late this year, so apologies for that. It should be that they are shared 1 month in advance, along with the agendas and any other relevant papers. So again, we can ensure that after this meeting, we make contact with our national members and ensure that we have the right email addresses. And if there are new email addresses, we can make sure that we are aware of those and make sure also that our emails aren't going into your spam boxes. So we know that we do share emails, and then sometimes people will inform us that there's been a change or that we haven't been kept up to date with your most recent email address. So again, we were running a little bit late this year in terms of sending out the paperwork, and we will endeavour that next year things are sent out in a more timely fashion. Iles, a question or a comment, something you'd like to add? Are you speaking or signing?
I'm speaking.
Okay. Thank you. Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm from Argentina, and we didn't change our email. Nevertheless, we didn't receive until this morning, early this morning here in Argentina is 9:30 in the morning. So I think that maybe it was some other issue. with sharing this information, and it would be much necessary to fix this because it helps us to know beforehand what is the topics that we are to discuss here, so we can also share with our national members of our associations to know what they think about some issues, so we can really represent in our voting to them. So that's the only thing. So thank you very much anyway for the hard work.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that comment. And I think that's a really excellent point. For us to be a democratic organisation, that's something that we need to consider. And again, something that we need to strive to do better at. Are there any other questions or comments? No? Can we send the link for members to be able to vote on the minutes of the assembly last year? So now we will share the link for that Google form. So either in the voting members chat or directly. And then I will give you 2 minutes to decide whether you want to formally approve the minutes from last year's GA. Okay, so let's see the results. They're quite close. So our technician said that they have found the transcript from last year's GA. So we can actually go through and add more detail to those minutes. We will ensure that more information is added to those minutes and those are shared with members, and that members can therefore have a better understanding of that event. Okay, and that then brings us to the next item. Hopefully, members will have received our annual report showing the work that we've undertaken over the last year. So it's shared in the form of a newsletter showing the workings over the last year. Are there any questions about the annual report? No, I don't see any hands raised. So if we can have the next slide, which is around voting in that document. So either in the voting members group or directly, we'll have shared the link for you to vote on supporting the annual report. Okay. So it seems that lots of members have abstained. Is that because they haven't received the report or because they read it and they're unhappy about the contents of said report? I see a hand raised there. Sergio, did you want to?
Yes, good morning. Good morning. My name is Sergio. I'm from Ecuador, from the Latin America region. We were discussing in our group chat that none of us have received the documents on time. Most of us, like we checked, like everyone, we receive it early in the morning, and based on our time, we haven't been able to read. As a region, as a we the different countries, we have decided to abstain from voting. Please, as it mentions in our governing document, we're supposed to receive all these documents at least with a month in advance. and then we can share with our members and discuss if we have any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. So at the moment, it seems to me that voting around these documents, people haven't received them and haven't had time to read them, doesn't feel like there's much point in undertaking these votes because people aren't able to vote appropriately. So maybe we postpone the votes and we have a later online voting section in a month's time where people are able to vote appropriately, having had time to read these documents. So my question for you is, will this be the same for the next documents? So the financial reports, the financial budget, etc., etc. If people haven't had the opportunity to read these, it feels to me that there's no point in asking you to vote on documents that you haven't had the opportunity to read and consider. I think it's not good practice for us to ask people to vote on things that they haven't read and fully understood. So will this issue be the same for the next voting items, the financial report, the membership fees, etc.? Have people also not received those and not had time to read them? Okay. Okay, so my question, I suppose, for members here today is that if I can ask if you can use the raise a hand feature on Zoom. So in the bottom of Zoom, there is a reactions toolbar. There are the options, for you to mute, turn your video on and off, and there's one that is like a raised hand. If I can ask now that people raise their hands if they haven't read the documents and haven't had the opportunity to read them in advance. So all of the voting members, it would be good if all voting members can raise their hands if possible. Yeah. So we have 12 hands raised, but I know that there are more than 12 voting members here. So if you are a national member, can you please click the raise a hand emoji if you are here representing a paid up national member? That's 14. I think there are more here. Okay, so 14, I think, from 17 whose votes we've received. I think that's a good enough number. So I ask now, if you put those hands down, can people please take off the raised hand? So if I can ask these members, if you haven't received these reports or you haven't had enough time to read them, do you think that we should postpone this event to give people the opportunity to have another month to be able to read the reports, to understand the reports, and then return to do this work? Is that something that people would like? That's something that we can discuss if people would like to postpone this by another month. Okay, so So if you would like to postpone this event by a month, please raise a hand now. Okay. We have 14, so I think it's best that we regroup and have these discussions when people have had the opportunity to read these documents properly. So firstly, we can ensure the minutes from last year's General Assembly are more detailed and we can share those with you. That's something that can happen. And also we can allow you more time to read the documents that you have received. So you can read through the annual report, you can read through the financial report for 2025 and also the proposed budget for 2026. So to look at our potential spending. Also the motions for changes and the constitution, or if there are any other things. We haven't received any resolutions from members. So if there are, please do let us know. There was one around the financial. So payments from national members, either direct payments via the bank or using PayPal. So we know that lots of people have experienced problems with PayPal. So that's something that people have asked us to look into and to think about other potential avenues of payment for national members. So one question we have is that we will need somebody to act as an auditor for this year's accounts. So we need to find somebody who is an auditor. We have one person that's given themselves as a nominee, and we need one more. Can we vote that person in so they are able to act as our auditor and look at the reports from national members? I think this is one thing that we can continue with. It's just the name of that person. They're from Nigeria. If people are happy to move on with that, we can do that. And that's the question I have, I suppose. I think everything else will have to wait for a month, but we can decide whether we want to have this vote for the auditor or not. That's something that we can decide on. So also the other question is when for the next vote. Okay. So I propose that we regroup on the 20th of June. Is that a date that's acceptable to those here today? So I will ask for the Google Forms to be sent and the Google Forms to have the names for the other votes, but just for this question, this one particular question. So the technical team, can you send the Google form and it will say annual report, but we're not asking you to vote on the annual report. We're asking you to vote on the next date as being the 20th of June. So if the technical team send the form, voting in favour isn't about the annual report. The vote in favour is your agreement for the next General Assembly to be held on the 20th of June. The technical team have asked if they can just take 1 more minute just to sort that out, so please do bear with us. So there are questions, WASLI, and I see another hand raised as well. Are those questions that you have? WASLI and the Hong Kong Association? Just checking because I can see that you have a hand raised. I wasn't sure if that was a question you wanted to ask, if that was just a legacy hand. Okay, so the form will be sent now. So the question again on this form, voting in agreement means that you are agreeing to us holding this meeting on the 20th of June again. I'll give you 2 minutes to vote. I know, Giovanna, just hang on a second. Just hang on a second to be spotlit. Hello, sorry, I arrived a little bit late. It seems that now we're voting. Yes, so now we are voting. So national members have said that they received the paperwork too late and they didn't have the opportunity to read the paperwork. So we've decided to maybe postpone this event by a month to give people to have the opportunity to have the time to read these documents. In the chat, a link has been shared for people to vote whether they agree with the postponement of this event until the 20th of June. Hopefully that's clear for you. I know that you've arrived slightly late. Hopefully that's do you have the link to the form there for you to vote? Okay, we'll ensure that you'll send that. You are sent that. You have that, thank you. Yes. Okay, thank you all very much. Obrigado. Okay, so it seems pretty clear that we have a consensus that people would like to postpone this event until the 20th of June. Which will give you time to read the paperwork. And then on the 20th of June, also the board will have the opportunity to improve the minutes from to share the minutes from the improved 2025, the improved minutes from last year's GA. Also, there are some members that haven't paid WASLI yet. They can do so, and then they will be able to vote at that event on the 20th of June. Okay, I think that's probably everything I wanted to say. It might be that you haven't received the information. Please do check those email addresses with Timothy. It seems that some of you have some issues receiving emails, so please do check in with our secretary to ensure that the right emails for your association are on file. Are there any other questions or comments before we close? Okay, I see Timothy has a hand raised. Timothy,
All right. Thank you so much
can you hang on,
for.
sorry, wait, can you wait for the spotlight to be the interpreter to be spotlit, please? Thank you, Timothy.
All right. Thank you so much, and well done, Christopher, for chairing the meeting. Most importantly, for all national members, I think it is important that we know that the payment duration for our fees should not come at the neck of General Assembly, because the legitimacy for you to be able to have access to us, one thing is early payment. So probably one thing that we need to do going forward is we might need to have a timeline, maybe say January, for everybody to pay his annual dues, so that we will be able to know those members that are committed, to collecting the document and have the legitimate rights to be able to ask questions. We got so overwhelmed when at the last minute we have a lot of issues coming up, then you don't really know which to resolve and which one you need to maybe step back. So I think we need to also do more. And please, can you kindly work closely with your regional representatives so that we can have this in a more coordinated way? We have national members under different regions, and I will advise you to work together with your regional representative for us to be able to get information on a very, very good time. We are not getting information on good time. We didn't know that you are not receiving emails until when we have this meeting. This should come earlier enough in the year, contacting me, letting me know that you are not receiving emails or you are not receiving any information from WASLI, so that we can be able to take correction about that. Any other thing, just like President Christopher have said, we will work on the minutes of the meeting for last year. And we have a lot of information for it, of course. So I will provide you with those information. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think also, if you haven't received any emails, you don't know that you're not receiving emails. So I think it's a little bit difficult to say if you haven't received things. So now those who are here and aren't receiving emails, please do ensure that we have the right email addresses for you. Please do reach out to us to make sure that we have your right details on file. And also some things just to share before we tie up and we regroup again on the 20th of June. WFD will be celebrating its 75th year anniversary. So WASLI will send a delegation to that celebration, and we will be sending a WASLI delegation. And also next year we will be having our Congress alongside WFD. Normally we have that event in June or July, our annual our four yearly conference. It's usually in June or July, but this year it will be later in September. According to the Swiss Constitution, we will have to submit our financial accounts in the first half of that year, so we can't wait until September to do that. So next year we will have to hold an EGM, so an extraordinary general Assembly so that we are able to vote on the financials. So we will have that event in March. We will include that calendar in the papers from this meeting, or before the 20th of June. So we will have to have this extraordinary general meeting in 2026 for you to be able to approve the financials for the previous year. And then for 2027 onwards, thinking about our budget projections. So we will have an opportunity for you to approve those early 2027. And then once that matter is out of the way, the other items will be held in the General Assembly, which will happen in September as part of our conference event. It's also a good opportunity for us to think about 2027 and also voting in a new board for the 2027 onwards term. So please, I would ask as members for you to think about who might be good individuals for that, thinking about people who have some interest in doing that, people who are thinking about maybe stepping forward. I've served 2 terms as president now, so this will be me stepping down. So WASLI will need a new president. All of the board will need to be voted in again. But I can't serve more than 2 terms, so I will have to step down. Arunas also will not be able to stand again. And Michelle will also not be able to stand again. Giovanna, who has done wonderful work around our accounting, will also not be able to stand again. So we will need 4 more people to be able to stand to join the board to work alongside Lydia and Timothy. So if you know of key individuals or you yourselves will think about think about standing for those positions, please do let us know. Please reach out to other people. Please let's start having those conversations early before we get to that event in September next year. I think it's probably time for us to close for today. Apologies for you not receiving the information you needed in advance. And I look forward to seeing you in a month's time when we can further discuss these matters. Thank you very much. So if everyone could put their cameras on so we can take a photo, that would be much appreciated. Great. Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Has somebody taken a photo? Yeah. I'll just check in with the technicians that a photo has been taken. It has. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And I will see you in a month's time.